Hey, what's up, Exit the Matrix family? Bob here. Hey guys, I wanted to pick back up on our ongoing talk about the origins of humanity. Most importantly, the Genesis story of Adam and Eve. And I'm sorry, guys, I haven't put out a video for a few days. I was gone on a long soccer tournament out of town for the weekend, and just barely got back yesterday. Didn't want to really deal with cutting videos and such. Had a lot of get the house back up in order, and laundry and all that fun stuff, to get back ready for the work week. So anyways, here we are. I'm cutting this on Tuesday morning on my way to work. Where I wanted to pick up where I left off last was, I mentioned we're going next into the little deeper into the tree of life. Now, everybody in the Bible, when you think about that, you always, in the Garden of Eden, usually your mind always goes to, the tree of good and evil. The tree of knowledge is where that story always tends to circle around. But there was this other major tree in the Garden of Eden, and it was called the tree of life. And this tree of life is very important because the tree of life is encoded with our origin story in it, at least the genetic story of humankind. Now, it is not very hard to find, folks. Just look up tree of life, Sumerian, cylinder seals, or cuneiform, and you'll find hundreds of depictions of the tree of life. Ancient depictions. I mean, some of these go back to the Sumer. Some are a little newer, maybe Akkadian, Babylonian, Assyrian, which are still going back 3,000 years plus. But some of these go back almost nearly 6,000 years. So you got to understand, this is ancient knowledge being passed down to us, and it's all encoded in a simple depiction of the tree of life. Now, like I said, you need to reference this picture of the tree of life. I'm not posting it on this video. These are essentially impromptu type of podcast talks that we do here, so I'm not editing in photos and stuff, but do some research on your own. It's good to learn how to research and delve into this stuff yourself. You may figure out things that maybe look at things from angles I'm not looking at it at, or other people too. So it's good for you to do this. It's better than wasting your time watching BS sitcoms and sports and such like that. It'll actually expand your mind instead of shrink your mind. So, the tree of life. Oftentimes it's depicted with Enki and Enlil standing on both sides of this tree, the two brothers that we've been speaking about in the Garden of Eden, known as the serpent and Yahweh. Now, the Bible likes to depict the serpent as being a angel, a fallen angel, a created cherub of God. And of course, this Yahweh character is the creator of all, according to the Bible. Though the Sumerian story paints a little different picture of these two brothers. In fact, it depicts them as brothers, not as in one is a creation of the other. It's a lot more of an intimate rivalry going on here, which honestly makes a lot more sense than the whole story about Lucifer, the fallen cherub. At least in my opinion, folks. A lot of you aren't even going to take the time to even look into this rivalry between the two brothers because, my God, it must be demonic writings and stuff. It was probably Lucifer that wrote it, according to some of you. Well, let's just set that aside. So anyways, oftentimes you got the two brothers, and they are often depicted with angel wings, which is symbolic of the fact that they had the ability of flight, folks. It wasn't that they actually had wings on their back and they were flying around like fairies or something. No, it was symbolic of them having the ability to fly in the sky in some type of a spaceship or flying ship. Think of the Vimanas, the flying ships, the flying fortresses in the Hindu Vedic texts. It's all these stories connect, people, and you got to learn how to start connecting the dots. It paints the picture. If you pigeonhole yourself into one Bible, one book, the Quran, the Bible, even only pigeonholing yourself in the Sanskrit writing, same thing. You're gonna miss the whole story, folks, because this was a worldwide event. This was a worldwide contact, a worldwide story, and there was a worldwide civilization. So these two brothers are standing on each side of this tree of life. One of them is usually putting a device into the tree of life. And then you have these two beings usually standing behind them called the Apkallu. They're these winged creatures with kind of like these bird type heads on them. Some people think that those were some kind of helmets or something. Because, like I said, this was a civilization or a people that had flight. Those were probably like their soldiers wearing helmets or something. But it's oftentimes explained that these were like demon spirits or, some kind of thing like that, which is a very simplified archaeological view of what this really was symbolic of. But it's all right. We'll move beyond that right now. It was more than likely the Igigi, however you want to say it. They were the working class Anunnaki. And they were probably the soldier class too. So if that kind of makes some sense, it was probably more than likely the Igigi that were standing next to Enlil and Enki as they were working on this tree of life. And understand, folks, this is all allegorical. It's all symbolic. Okay? You got to start learning how to read symbolism. Jordan Maxwell is a great source for learning how to read these ancient symbols that are all throughout all of our religions and ancient books and texts. So you've got Enki and Enlil inserting tools into this tree of life. Sometimes it's these little rod-looking devices. And if you look at the tree of life, you'll notice that it's in the shape, the branches of the tree that looks like really no tree that you've ever seen. And that's because it's not an actual tree. It's symbolic, though, however, of the human genome tree. And you'll notice that the branches are in the double helix design. And this is on purpose, folks. And you'll notice that on the ends of this tree, you'll find the little flowers on the ends of this tree. And they're sticking these devices into the flowers. Now, without getting graphic, folks, it doesn't take much imagination to think what those flowers are. You have the genetic human tree, right? And you have flowers on it. Think of this. The woman's anatomy. The portal that we all come into this realm through. The womb, your mother's womb, through the tunnel, the vaginal canal. And you know what you come out of. That is what the flowers represent, folks. This is like a exact depiction, symbolically, of in vitro fertilization. They're doing some kind of genetic manipulations on the human genome tree. So there were humanoids before Homo sapien, folks. However, we are a genetically modified species. I'm not saying that the Anuna, the Anunnaki, the Watchers, whatever you want to call them, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying that they created humankind, from nothing. it is quite obvious that there was another humanoid walking on the earth that they genetically tinkered with. Now we know this by even modern archaeology, that there were many types of different humanoids that shared this humanoid tree that we can find ourselves connected to. You know, Neanderthal man, Cro-Magnon, Denisovan. We could go on and on. There's many different types. I mean, there were like midget, you know, like small people species back then. There were tall species back then. There was a wide variety of humanoids, more powerful than our current human species. Okay, and you wonder where we get all these different stories about leprechauns and giants and such, the two ends of the spectrums, because there was a time on Earth, folks, where there were multiple humanoid species on Earth vying for territory. Almost like a Lord of the Rings type of situation. But eventually it all ended up coming down to our current human species. Now, I don't know if those other species were killed off, if they were all bred into one species or what. We don't know that for sure. There is some Neanderthal blood found in humankind now. So there was some kind of interbreeding, inter blood mixing going on, a genetic mixing going on there. However, this was a scientists that were genetically manipulating the human species. So, I hope you're with me on this. Like I said, go look up these depictions yourself. Now, newer depictions that come from the Assyrians will no longer have Enki and Enlil standing by the tree. It'll still have two Anunnaki standing there, but it usually depicts Ahura Mazda flying over the Tree of Life, observing the work being done. Now, those of us that have studied these ancient archetypes for quite a while, my consensus of my, studies lead me to believe that Ahura Mazda is Enlil, the commander of earth, the god of the air, which is interesting because in the Bible they actually call Lucifer the god of the air, but yet Christians believe that the serpent is Lucifer, and that would be Enki. So we got a little bit of a mix-up there as far as titles go. But Enlil was known as the god of the air. Think of Zeus. He was Zeus in the Greek pantheon. And he was Yahweh in the Judean Christian Old Testament. And it's interesting to note that ancient depictions, the oldest depictions of Yahweh ever found, call him a storm god. A storm god, folks. Not the creator of all, a storm god. But you hold on to that fantasy that he's that Christ was him incarnate in human form and all that. Yes, the storm god, Zeus, Enlil, Ahura Mazda. So anyways, now there's something also interesting about some of these depictions of this Tree of Life. There's also ones that show Enki holding a pine cone. Now we're going to bring a new item into this mix here. The pine cone. Now this pine cone is also being inserted into this Tree of Life. Now this is the really sweet information, folks. This is really, we're getting into the juicy here now. This will start getting into the Gnostic stuff about the demiurge and that this is the Matrix. Okay, now, instead of this iron rod, some of the depictions show a pine cone. Now, some people say that the pine cone represents a type of like a seed of life, which is true. Pine cones, when they're burned, they open up and they release their seeds. And that's why after a forest fire, you have more pine trees come up, because when those seeds are opened up from fire, it allows more to be released into the soil, and you'll have more pine trees grow than normally would grow in the area. That's why forest fires are actually good for the environment. Now, I'm talking natural forest fires, not man-made ones. with certain like types of weapons you would shoot out of like, satellites and such. We'll just leave it there. But anyways, it reinvigorates the forest. Yes, it burns down old trees and old, ground, it clears out the ground from all the like fallen timber and everything and leaves and needles, but it reseeds. So there is a certain element that this pine cone is connected to the seeds of life, which once again, folks, remember, in vitro fertilization, seeds of life, okay? Hold on to that symbology there, but we're going to go way deeper with this. Okay, now the pine cone, which is depicted by all major religions around Earth, the Pope walks around with a rod topped off by a pine cone. See, the mystery schools understand what the pine cone is. We don't. Most people don't. They're ignorant of this because they don't understand symbology. Now, the pine cone also is representative of the pineal gland in your brain, your pineal gland. And this is very important, folks. This is probably the most important depiction found with the Tree of Life, because this will start to explain why we're here. That pineal gland is the seat of the soul. It is the connection point between the brain, the operating system, not the brain that our scientists will try to tell you is the mind, is the consciousness. No. The computer operating system is what the brain is. It controls the functions of the body, and it also allows the spirit to control, to immerse itself into the human body, to be connected, and to allow that spiritual conscious energy to inhabit that body. The brain is the operating system, folks. It's like when you're using a computer. The computer is not your consciousness. It is the tool that your consciousness uses. With the help of your body, obviously typing on keys and touching the screen and whatever you do on a computer to work, to look up information and such. The brain is the operating system, folks. Do not believe these hooligans when they tell you that is consciousness. They're full of shit and they know it because they're trying to despiritualize you. They want you to believe you're just a dumb animal. Okay, folks? The left and their bullshit science is in itself a religion, folks. These people are hardcore cultists in their own right. I know I hammer on people from religions a lot, but let's be real. Leftists are cultists also. They're just following a different religion. Now, they're too dumb to know they're following a religion because they're as ignorant as most religious people are. And I'm sorry, folks, I hammer both sides. It's because we've all been lied to, okay? That's just the way it is. Until you start waking up, you don't know. So, this pineal gland, the seat of the soul, there's a reason why the Egyptians portrayed it so many times. That's why the Hindus portrayed it so many times. They called it the third eye. That's why they put the red dot on their forehead. It's to represent the third eye, spiritual awakening, spiritual awareness. This pineal gland, what they're trying to tell you is as they're putting this pine cone into the Tree of Life, they're telling you they are putting the spirit into the human genome, the Tree of Life, into this project. Now, we're not going to have time this morning, folks. I'm almost to work here to go into this too deeply on why they did this. But we're going with this right now, okay? And we're going to pick up tomorrow where we left off. But you got homework here. I want you all to go do the research yourself. And hey, if you think I'm wrong, then come back and let me know in the comments. But if you do the research, I'd love to hear what you think. And maybe I'm missing something. But this pine cone, which has been known for thousands of years, that represents The pineal gland, which represents essentially the inception of the soul, the spirit, into the human body, is what animates the body. Once the spirit leaves the body, folks, the body's dead. The body is a vessel. It's your space suit, which allows you to immerse yourself into this space, the third dimensional space. It's very simple to understand when you can just... I'm trying to simplify this as much as possible, folks. We don't have to go into hardcore, white paper written things on, consciousness and all this. It's simple, folks. Our ancient ancestors were trying to tell us this story in storybook form, in pictograph form, okay? It's not that hard to figure out here, folks. The pineal gland. There's a reason why all of these demonic governments right now on the earth, all ours included, everyone's included, are trying to destroy or calcify your pineal gland. They're trying to dumb you down. They're trying to destroy your operating system, the brain. They're trying to destroy your body, the vessel. They're trying to limit the abilities of the spirit in this realm, folks. The Christ consciousness. They are trying to inhibit it, limit it, and control it. Okay? There's a reason why they put fluoride, toxic waste fluoride, byproduct of chemical factories, into your water supply, claiming, it's good for your teeth. I'm sorry, folks. If you're still one of these idiots that believes that this version of fluoride is good for your teeth that they're putting in your water, my God, folks, you are an NPC. I'm sorry. Until you wake up, you're an NPC, because you just believe anything you're freaking told, right? Because a dude in a white jacket told you, make sure you drink that city water. It'll help your teeth. I'm sorry, man. I don't get people, man. I mean, how do you guys fall for this stuff, right? Now, a little bit of fluoride is actually good for the body. Now, in the natural form that you would find like in well water and such. A little bit, a slight bit. Most elements and minerals, you need a little bit, at least trace amounts in your body. But this poison that they're dumping into your local municipal water supply, that they're claiming they put it in there for your teeth. I mean, my God, folks, do these people give a shit about your teeth? Think about this. Why is all of our food just loaded with high fructose corn syrup, with all these artificial sweeteners and all this, high amounts of sugar and processed sugars and stuff, refined sugars, bleached sugars? It's in all your food. I mean, hell, you can't even eat a savory dish anymore without looking on the ingredients. Look at your spaghetti sauce and all these other, almost every sauce, hot sauce. I mean, almost anything you put on something to eat has this sugar in it. And yet these dumb assholes are trying to trick you into believing they care about your teeth. That's why they put fluoride in my water. They care about my teeth there, don't they? Oh. Even though I don't have half my teeth anymore, I've been drinking this city water my whole life. But I would have more, I'd have way more cavities if it wasn't for that. I mean, wake the hell up, you people. Come on, man. Oh, my God. I'm sorry, people. I'm off on one of my rants. But anyways, I love doing impressions sometimes. So I hope that gave you a little chuckle. But, hey, take this back to a serious wrap-up here. I am here at work. I got to get rolling here. I was off for a few days, so I got a little catch-up to do. Look this up. Look up these cylinder seals of the Tree of Life, and you'll see exactly what I'm explaining to you. And just look at the simple symbolism in it. The flowers on the tree, the double helix, design of the branches of the tree, the pine cone and devices being inserted into the flowers on the tree. We're going to go tomorrow into the pine cone a little more, folks, into the pineal gland. And we're going to go into the spiritual inception into the Tree of Life, into the human genome. So Hope this is fascinating you at least. It fascinates me. That's why I love delving into this stuff. Our our origins is a vast mystery that has been hidden from us for a long time, and it's right there for all of us to figure out. It's coded in symbology and just in stories and pictographs and but they tried to tell us, folks, and they lied to us and told us this all meant something else because these people are all essentially compartmentalized and they're pushing the same BS on all of us. So I'm talking about your archaeologists and your scientists and such. There are some that know this, but they know they will not speak out because they will be blackballed by their I don't know what you want to call it, by the academia as a whole, as their colleagues in academia. They know that their work will be blackballed, that they will never get their white papers read and, taken seriously if they delve into these subjects, so that they just continue pushing the Darwin bullshit lie. The humans were hunter-gatherers, up until 6,000 years ago lie. That there was no advanced technology back then. That it was just chicken bones and hemp rope and slaves and ramps and logs in a desert used to move around 100-ton stones and piling them up hundreds of feet tall. But hey, if you want to believe all that, hey, those people are living in their own delusion too, and they're totally full of shit, and they don't want to give up their gravy train, their sponsorships by their universities and such, so they'll continue to lie even knowing they know they're lying. But that's what this world is. It's a world of lies, ain't it? Everything's a lie in the Matrix, and the god of this realm is the father of lies, right? It says in the Bible. The problem is those that you turn that father of lies into your father God, right? The Father, the Son. Oh yeah. Of course, there's no mother. The mother always disappears. It's replaced by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Ghost. But we all know that that's the creative mother, also the divine feminine. Those of us that understand. So, anyways, folks, I appreciate you guys. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll talk to you later.